Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to turn this over to Councilmember Betsy Wilkerson to chair the Finance and Administration City Council Committee meeting. Good afternoon, Betsy.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you for that walk through the chambers. It was kind of a reminder. Okay, I have an echo. Just one moment. Is it from Brian? Okay.
Oh, yeah, just hang on.
All right.
You're good now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kate. So let's call to order the Finance Committee today. I would like approval of the minutes from March 15th, please.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you. We have a pretty full agenda today. Was there anything on consent that anybody wanted to discuss? If not, then we'll go right into our discussion items. We're going to be on track today. So we're going to start with Mike Sloan for the SBO for the mail courier. Mike?
Yes, thank you, Councilmember. This has been a request that we had in the offering for a part-time employee in the mail center. This began in 2020. We were approved to push forward, but due to some changes that we needed to work with Local 270, and in the process of establishing this position, it was finally approved to move forward. So we're in this position. The funding is there because we have to hire either a project employee or temp seasonal to cover this service need within that department. So this is a request to now take that position that had been temp seasonal and make it a 0.5 FTE. And again, the item is budgeted in our 2021 operational budget.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions for Mike on that?
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have Steve Burns come to us with the SBO for the Water Yards East parking upgrade. Steve?
Yeah, good afternoon, Council. So this SBO is the mechanism to move from our unappropriated reserves, the water and hydroelectric budget, into the construction of fixed assets budget line. Those monies that were actually put into unappropriated reserves from the sale of the property across the street in order to fund the final contractor portion of the construction of our parking lot and the east yards here at the water department. Any questions for that?
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Council President?
Yes. Yeah, so I had a question because I think this is pretty expensive, and I'm just wondering how long we think we're going to be at this location and whether we really need to spend this much money on it, I guess, is what came up previously. So I'm wondering what you can tell us about why we should spend money now when we've talked a little bit about consolidating maybe at all at Nelson or some other place. So.
Yeah, there have been several plans in the past. I'll try and work through the echo here. So not talking about all of the past plans that have kind of been phasing through all of the ideas of where the site would be re-sited and where our concentrated or multi-complex, multi-department complex would be. Those have never come to fruition, and what this parking lot has been designed toward is actually a total improvement of the property and actually an improvement to the neighborhood, and also being right next door to the District 81 new middle school that will be is currently being constructed. So we're viewing this as an overall improvement to the property in a general sense, also an improvement to the neighborhood in this area, and for the use of this property. And so while there aren't any plans right now of wholesale moving off of the property there's no reason that couldn't be in the cards. And now,
Maybe I could.
oh, go ahead, Marlene.
Can I just jump in here? Council President, I know that we've looked at that in the past where we were considering co-locating water and wastewater perhaps in a different site. As we've worked through our pro forma more recently, we do not have room in the budget in the immediate future to be able to do something like that. So we actually have done some investment into the water department with, for example, the moving of the engineering services team field office to the water location. And we actually have had some air quality concerns in Steve's building, and we're actually making upgrades to that building. Without the room in the budget, we really want to spend the capital dollars we have available on water and wastewater infrastructure improvements. So at this point, I think that it makes sense to go ahead and make the investment in this location. And I think what Steve's pointing out to us too is that that as we see this neighborhood grow and develop and get improved through the addition of the new middle school, the new housing development that's going on, the triangle piece next to the fire station, all of those things contribute to an improved neighborhood, and this parking lot actually will also improve the streetscape and make the water department also a valued area in this location, in this neighborhood.
I also think it's really important to point out that we're really never going to be away from this location because we have two very large production municipal wells located on site. So no matter what, we'll always be here. Whether or not we're actually using the administrative building and the other buildings around in this area, we don't know what the future brings with those plans. But these two well stations that are here, they won't go anywhere. So by actually constructing this parking lot, we're taking care of the wellhead protection of our well stations as well. So and we're trying to dovetail as many positive moves into the improvement of the property so that it continues to serve the city in whatever form that would be.
Councilmember Mumm.
So one of the things I think is kind of a difficult discussion, but one that we need to make, is how much of this expenditure is going to what we would call employee parking, and then, vehicle parking for our assets. Obviously, we want to secure our vehicles and make it safe, but it's a little difficult because some of our employees who are located elsewhere are not provided free parking. And so I think that's maybe a discussion we need to have, is that, when free parking is available on the street, and that can be a change for the neighborhood when there's that intensification. But I think we need to at least have that open discussion because we have an equity issue with, and I know different departments have a different parking situation. So I would just like to hear from Marlene on how to deal with that.
Well, we traditionally have offered a parking at this location, so I think that would be a significant change for our employees who have worked in this building or this facility for some time, and it's consistent with our other field locations. We do offer parking at the street department, at the central service center, at the wastewater treatment plant. So I don't think that is inconsistent. And the neighborhood streets there do not have a lot of on-street parking. There's an on-street parking on North Foothills or on Hamilton, for example. And so we wouldn't want to meter it or do anything like that in the neighborhood. And we're also adding a number of residents through the housing that's being added, and we're adding additional people coming into the neighborhood with the new middle school. And plus, of course, Gonzaga Prep is already in that location and takes up considerable on-street parking in this neighborhood. So I think as we look to be a good neighbor, we want to make sure that we have a place for our employees to be located. We also do offer all of our employees free bus passes, so we certainly can continue to encourage our employees to use that service. But I do think at this point it makes sense to continue to offer what has been offered at that location.
Well, thank you for bringing up all our partners because, again, adding to the conversation, hate to see empty parking lots, And I'm just wondering if we've considered some kind of co-location and a parking pass that maybe the district could participate in, when there comes a time when we move or are not consuming the parking spaces, there might be a way to recapture some income there. This is really expensive for us to do.
My computer got a little weird, so I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yes.
Oh. The other thing is, Councilmember Munn, we're also building this parking lot to meet the standards that are in place for parking lots, and includes the streetscape improvements and so forth. So this is the level of development that we expect in our community when we build parking lots. So it isn't inconsistent with what we ask others to do.
So my question was co-location of shared use with other community partners in the area. If we are not using all of the spaces all of the time, maybe we could come up with a way to have some income when it's empty.
And I'm sorry, Councilmember, I didn't hear that. I think my computer's being really weird, so I'm not sure what you said.
So Marlene, she was asking if there's co-location.
I can't hear anybody.
Can't hear anybody.
So apparently my audio went weird. Let me see if I can fix that.
So as Marlene is working on it, Councilmember Munn, would you mind if we come back to this when she's able to engage? Great. All righty.
I'll
go
type
ahead.
it in the chat, and she can tell me later if we
Okay.
need to move on. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
With that, we're going to go on to
sorry.
Paul. Oh, Council President?
Sorry. Yeah, I think I would love to see, Steve, since I'm assuming you can still hear us, if you could send around the plans for where the lot is and how many spaces and some things like that so we can see that. Because right now we just have the financial piece of what it costs, and I think people maybe need to see a little context there. So when you get a chance.
Okay, yeah. Keep in mind also that this is the engineer's estimate that we're using for the SBO. The plans will be done this week.
Okay.
The goal is to actually open bids, I believe, on May 10th, which means that we'll advertise this week for bidding. But I'll get you plans and specs. Would you like them for the entire council?
Yes.
That'd be great, Steve. Perfect.
Will do.
Thank you. All right, Paul, let's talk about some windstorm expenses.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, City Council. So this item is specific to the Parks and Recreation Department. We're requesting an SBO for their share of the windstorm costs that we reported on to the Finance Committee back in February. It's approximately $900,000, and it dealt with tree removal, vehicle loss, and some property damage to some of their park sites, golf courses, buildings, and historic features. We're requesting the SBO, the revenue coming from the contingency reserve pot. It is being submitted for FEMA reimbursement as well. So we would, if we get the historical anticipated 75% of eligible expenses back, $674,000 approximately would go back to the general fund reserves, and the general fund portion would be the balance of about $225,000. If we're unsuccessful for FEMA, then we would assume that the full cost of $900,000 would come from contingency reserve. But that is all I have on it. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Paul? We all saw the damage of the wind, so we understand the need going forward. All right, let's go on to Michelle, and let's talk about parks and golf.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you. This is basically just a housekeeping item. What happened when we did our encumbrance carryovers at the end of last year? Well, let me take you back to our original resolution that had 3 draws of $2.5 million per golf course. And we have issued the first 2 resolutions and drawn the first $5 million. And we had authorized all of the budget, and we were carrying over unused budget as we move forward, and then just drawing the SIP loans when the cash was needed and the construction started on the golf courses. in the encumbered carryover process this year, it was submitted, but it was missed and not picked up. So this is just a house cleaning item just to add the budget back into the asset management capital operations fund so that we can draw the third draw, which is the next item on the agenda, the resolution for the third and final draw, final $2.5 million draw for the golf courses. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Michelle? Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Unmute. We're going to go to F, and I'm going to not try to pronounce that word and mess up somebody's name, but it is the lease extension for the Envision Center, and Dave Steele is going to come to us with that. Are you there, Dave, for F and G?
If he's not, I can talk about it.
All right, Council President, why don't you go ahead?
Yep. So as you know, the Envision Center right now is at South Arthur Street, co-located with the Workforce Development Center and Employment Security. And we've essentially been occupying that without a lease. And so this would extend the lease from November through May. The money for the extension is going to come from the Workforce Development Center. We're going to sign, the lease is in the city's name, so we're going to sign an extension as the proposal. Workforce Development Center will give us the money for the extension, which we'll use to pay it. And then beyond May, the county, I believe, is going to propose that we split the rent with them and Workforce Development 1/3 each going forward. The county's become convinced that it's a really good investment for dealing both with people who are homeless and coming out of criminal justice, but also a lot of people that are not homeless, but on the edge of becoming homeless. And so that proposal will come forward. But this proposal is just to clean up accounting from December 1 through May. And if I understand it, it doesn't cost us anything, but there's paperwork to do.
Councilmember Kinnear?
Thank you. Is there any plans to have some sort of regular update on how well they're doing, how many people they're serving? Not how many people are walking through the door, but how many people are being served, what kinds of services? I would like real hard data on this. It's a lot of money, and the last time I was there was a lot of space. So I'd love to get regular updates so we can justify money being spent on this.
Yes, that is all possible. The last tour, Councilmember Wilkerson and I took, you weren't able to come on it, but the space was full up with that, and they're serving a lot of people. And I say the county, which tends to be a little more conservative than the city on human services issues, they seem to be big fans with the current situation, and we're reducing the cost where the city was paying 100% to now the city would be paying 1/3. But again, that's not what's before us. But your question, which is, can we get documentation of what's actually being done, who's actually being served, and what kind of results? We can definitely get that. And the numbers that I've seen have been very exciting. So we should share that with everybody. So I'm sure CHHS will work on getting that documentation.
Councilmember Stratton.
I just wanted to add that I have been over there on my own and have been very, very impressed with the work that's going on. There were people there, and most important, the last time I was there, they had, it was in the middle of COVID, so they were working on alternative ways to communicate with people and that kind of thing. But they actually had set up a little food bank and water and things for people if they came in and they needed it. So I've been really impressed when I've been over there. I've also referred constituents who have gotten services over there. And I did ask that question about numbers and how many they've served and what programs are the most popular. And I believe that they can get that information. I got rough numbers, but I think if we ask for it, we could get it. And maybe a monthly update or something like that, or a quarterly update from them. But I think that could be possible.
Thank you, Councilmember. I think that'd be great. Validate where our money's going, how it's being used. So, any other questions regarding the Envision Center? If not, let's hear from Brian McGinn on the hearing examiner.
Good afternoon. The City of Newport has contacted my office and asked for us to provide hearing examiner services to Newport. They need the services on a very limited basis. It's purely for conflict of interest cases. They already have a hearing examiner and just needed a backup because they have a case coming up pretty soon for the next few months where they need someone to take over for their hearing examiner. So they got a hold of us. I'm imagining this is going to be similar to the level of activity that we get from Newport, from Millwood, which is very sparse, probably a case every couple years, maybe. So it's a pretty limited deal. The proposed interlocal agreement is being circulated, but it is carbon copy with the ones we have with several jurisdictions, Erie Heights, Cheney, et cetera. So I can get into more details if you want, but I suspect that's all that you're going to want to hear from me today. But yes.
Councilmember Monk?
Hi. Hey, I really support this. I'm familiar with the pressures that are happening up in Newport. It's a very attractive place right on the river. There's a lot of land use actions that are happening up there, and they could certainly use our help and your experience with the Growth Management Act and everything else that's coming along. And that town really wants to grow, but they want to grow in a way that they can afford to grow and sustain it. So I'm so glad that you're available and that I support this.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to have Chris Becker around parking and fee schedule. Chris?
Good afternoon, Council. So I'm bringing forward the proposed changes to the Spokane Municipal Code for the parking sections. You've seen these codes a couple of times now.
Version we sent them.
We've been working on it for about 18 months. This is coming from the adoption of the 2019 parking study and is supporting the strategies included in that study. So in your packet were the final version of the code. Since then, Council President has given us a few more changes, which we will include in the final version before we bring it to you for consideration. There was an updated map and the fee schedule, which is something new that you hadn't previously seen. So just to refresh, the goals of these code changes are to have a transparent, data-driven, and sustainable code, simplified and consistent language, making sure our codes are consistent and using the same language as the RCWs. We're establishing an 85% target occupancy, which is what all of our data-driven decisions will be based on. And we're future-proofing our code using language like paid parking devices instead of parking meters as we're upgrading our equipment and technology. We don't want to have to keep coming back for code changes. We want to optimize our parking enforcement and close language gaps. Again, the code currently uses like boot for the device that, when we put it on a vehicle on our scofflaw list, and hang tags for permits. We'd like to move into this century and use digital permits. So we relied heavily on our parking consultant, Dixon, to combine the industry best practices and with our existing codes and the RCWs. So we brought these codes to you several times over the last year. We had PAC consider it last fall. We took it back again to PAC this spring, and they made a recommendation on the fee schedule, which was included. So what that's doing is that's taking all of the fees that have been scattered throughout the municipal code, putting them in one place. That will be evaluated and updated if needed annually as part of the budget process. And we will start that with PAC, and then they would make a recommendation to council that council would consider during the budget process. So again, we're establishing that target rate of 85% occupancy for the on-street parking stalls. That's when we would consider making changes if it differed from that 85%. In areas where it was below that, we would consider lowering the meter rates. In areas where we had higher occupancy, we would consider increasing the rates. But those would happen no more than twice a year, and the adjustment is capped at 50 cents per adjustment. And then also the code includes, or the fee schedule includes a minimum and a maximum meter rate. It also updates the parking violations based on the parking study recommendations, and those are included in the fee schedule. And we are looking at $30 for paid parking violations, $65 for safety-related violations, and $45 for all other violations. And then the rest of the changes are really just a code cleanup and kind of future-proofing the code. In the permit section, we wanted to make the language more flexible so that we're able to implement, as we're implementing new programs, such as perhaps a service worker permit for the downtown, those types of things. That language is already existing in the code, and we'd be able to implement those programs. So are there any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Chris? Thank you very much. Got off easy, didn't you? Moving right along, we're going to go to Jay Fastenal Value Blanket, Thea Prince. Thea out there? Well, we'll go on to the next one and come back, and hopefully she'll be able to join us. Source of income ordinance, Brian McClatchy.
I'm
sorry, Press.
Yeah, I'm taking this. So we didn't have time.
Which one?
Source of income.
Okay.
Yep. So we didn't have time at Urban Experience to talk about it, and I promised we'd talk about this at the next available meeting. So thank you, Councilmember Wilkerson, for giving us some space. So just to share the context of how this arose, it may be actually a little bit moot, which for reasons I'll explain in a moment. But last year when we were providing rental assistance aid, one of our conditions was that if we provided rental assistance, that the person would have some just cause eviction protection. We didn't want to invest thousands of dollars of taxpayer dollars and then have the landlord simply give 20-day notice for no reason. And
this is Thea. I am here.
Oh, okay, we'll get to you, Thea, in just a minute. And get that person without housing and become potentially homeless after we had just paid taxpayer dollars. So we had a condition that, I forget how long it was something like a year, that as long as the person was paying their rent, not violating the rental agreement, causing any problems for anyone, they could stay in their home throughout the end of the pandemic, essentially. At the time, we were hoping it would be over sooner. So we were talking with our providers who might contract and provide rental assistance for this new tranche of funds, and we said, okay, we probably want to keep the same condition. And they gave us some feedback and said, well, that might be problematic. What if a landlord wouldn't agree to that? Then the tenant wouldn't get the benefit of rental assistance. So we said, okay, well, we could make this just like Section 8, which Section 8, you can't be refused on Section 8 if you're a tenant. And Section 8 has the same thing. It has just cause eviction protection. Again, the tenant has to pay their rent, has to comply with all things. So we thought we would just expand that Section 8 protection to rental assistance. And we've gotten some feedback. Some landlords were worried that we were trying to use it to reduce how much rent they could charge or not let them evict someone who was actually causing a disturbance or damage or things like that. So we assured them that was not the case. But in the meantime, the legislature did enact statewide just cause eviction language. And so this may not even be needed. The challenge is going to be when the legislation becomes effective and whether there's a gap in there or not, which we could also do with another ordinance, just a just cause ordinance in general for that gap. So we haven't landed on a proposal to bring to you, but that's the current state of the discussion, and we're continuing to look at it.
Councilmember Cathcart and then Councilmember Stratton.
Yeah, so I guess, are we proposing to pay 100% then of what's due by the renters and not require the landlords to take a hit?
Yeah, correct. This is not a way to get around paying 100%.
Okay.
Stratton?
Just a quick question, Council President. Have we or are we setting aside any funding for legal assistance for landlords that have questions and tenants that have questions? The reason I ask that is I think you've been involved in some of my emails with landlords where I literally am sending them to the Attorney General's office in Olympia, and they're answering questions. And it would seem to me we could have some kind of a resource locally for landlords and tenants to get those questions answered, and if there are any fuzzy areas that they need clarification on, that we would have that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, well, there's nothing in this particular ordinance, and there's nothing in the rental assistance contracts that we're looking to put out, but we have put on our 100-day plan is exploring some city-paid legal assistance. We were looking mostly at tenants, but I'm hearing some concern for landlords during this kind of COVID moratorium time. So that would be part of the discussion, but it's not that it's not part of this discussion, but it's just not part of this ordinance. But we're continuing to work on that. And as you know, we brought this proposal to the landlord-tenant collaboration group to get feedback from people
right.
as well. So
I was just thinking with the federal dollars coming in, that maybe during this COVID period, that we could use some of that money to contract to a couple agencies that could help out.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Well, we might. So the first, well, it's not the first, but the funds that are just about to be contracted with in the next couple of weeks, they already did RFPs for that, and those funds are already there. But we're, I think, approving today on consent something like $9 million in federal funds through the State Department of Commerce. So that potentially, and I know that at least, I believe I've been told that some of those funds could be used for legal, but we'll have to talk to CHHS about that. So
perfect. Thanks.
And the other thing I was going to just follow up, Councilmember Cathcart, is if we did this ordinance, we would put in language that explicitly said it only applied if the landlord was getting 100% of the rent. So that's how we would deal with that issue. Just so.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions? All right, more to come. Thea, if you're out there now, we'd love to hear from you.
I am here, and I totally apologize. I was thinking 3:30 for some reason. What I am bringing before you today is authorization and approval to enter into value blanket orders for multiple departments for inventory management type. It's a vending machine that I've got 4 different departments that have been using Fastenal, who was the winner of an RFP that we put out 5 years ago. Fastenal provides the vending machines free of charge, and then we purchase the inventory or items that are put into those vending machines, such as safety, pieces of safety equipment and other items, that are small that it just makes sense to have available for employees to be able to have quick access to. And the machines keep track of who takes what. So if it comes down to where we're going through, let's say, gloves at an exorbitant rate, we can always see who's checking those gloves out or taking those gloves from the vending machine. Since we've been using Fastenal the last 5 years, this is a reason I would like to be able to access this already competed contract through the National IPA Co-op that is managed through Omnia Partners. Any questions?
Any questions for Thea? Thank you, Thea, and thank you for showing up. We appreciate
Thank you.
it.
I apologize once again.
No problem. No problems at all. All right. On to our committee briefs. So we're going to go into our SAO report, exit, and we're going to have Tyler Benner come to us with that.
Good day, Council. Good to be with you. I'm joined here today by members of the State Auditor's Office, Alicia Shaw, Brianna Perry, and Tara Alfano, who are going to be presenting the results of the annual accountability audit. As many of you know, a press release was circulated this morning which informed the public that at the request of the Mayor, SAO added to their work plan a department-specific audit engagement of the Community Housing and Human Services Department based on concerns raised by city employees. I'll turn the floor over to our state auditors to discuss those results and the rest of the accountability audit in further detail.
All right, well, I'll start sharing. We do have our PowerPoint to share, and then Alicia will do a little bit of an introduction here for us. Okay.
All right. Well, we really appreciate your time this afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today to share the results of our audit with the City of Spokane's accountability audit. My name is Alicia Shaw. I'm the audit manager for Team Pullman, which is the team that's assigned to perform the city's audit. And joining me today, I have Brandy Pritchard, the assistant director for local audit, and then two members of my team that assisted in performing the audit that Tyler just introduced as well. Brianna Perry, she's the in-charge auditor, and then Tara Alfano is the audit supervisor. Before we get started, it is important to note that the presentation that we have prepared for you today and that is appearing on your screen is an overall summary of our audit results. We actually provided a copy of an exit packet that includes additional information that supplements this presentation. That was sent to council, I think the end of last week, or maybe yesterday. And it includes a copy of your audit report as well. And then while we do not plan to speak from that packet, we will provide page references as we go through the report and the other items in the report, where you can locate additional details being shared within your packet. If you have any questions during the presentation, please let us know. With that, we'll turn to the second slide and begin. The State Auditor's Office conducts over 2,600 state and local audits every year. One of the most important things about audits is its role to increase trust in government. Our audits are actually able to do that because the public trusts our office as an independent organization. We provide transparent examinations of operations of state and local governments, and we also make those results available to the public. Another important role of our audits is the ability to identify areas where efficiency can be improved or where the city can make more effective processes to comply with its policies or other requirements such as state laws or regulations. Audits can also tell city management where the city is already working efficiently and effectively. Our goal today will be to make sure you understand the results of our audit and to answer any questions that you may have. And at this point, I will turn it over to Brianna.
Okay, thanks, Alicia. So our accountability report covers fiscal year 2019. And the report was actually published this morning at 10 a.m. So while there is a draft copy in the exit packet, the final version is now available on our website. And the purpose of our accountability audits are to ensure there's protection from misuse and misappropriation of public funds, and also that applicable state laws and regulations are being followed. And our report in our report, which states on starts on page 3 of the exit packet handout, it states under the results in brief heading that we determined in most areas we examined, the city operations complied in all material respects with applicable state laws, regulations, and its own policies, and provided adequate controls over the safeguarding of public resources. We obviously don't have time to examine every transaction, activity, or area, so our report is geared towards the areas that we did review, which are on the next slide. And in accordance with government auditing standards, we use a risk-based approach to select areas to audit, and based on our planning procedures, we included 6 different areas to review. Out of these areas, if there were any recommendations, they have already been communicated to the city and to the departments. So I'll just touch on a couple here. Our review of the Community Housing and Human Services Department was per request of the city, and it did result in a finding which Tara will be covering in the next couple of slides, so I'm not going to go into any detail here. So some of the other sections, for example, we performed a review of 3 of the city's new utility billing adjustment and credit programs, including the senior or disabled residential customer credit, the water wastewater conservation credit, and the UHELP program. We performed testing here under each program to ensure eligibility of the individuals participating and that credits were applied within the guidelines outlined in the Spokane Municipal Code. We also performed testing in accounts payable, which encompassed several areas, fuel cards, travel expenditures, as well as electronic fund transfers for vendors and payroll. Specifically for fuel cards, we updated our understanding of controls. We sampled transactions in multiple departments to ensure that they were supported with adequate documentation. They were approved in accordance with the city's policy and were ultimately allowable. We also brought in a review of a specific federal congestion mitigation and air quality grant that was actually part of a citizen hotline. We specifically addressed the concerns expressed in the hotline by evaluating the project scope, the use of the federal funds in alignment with the grant agreements and the project plans. And then we also communicated those results to the citizen as well. So that's kind of a high-level summary of some of the areas included in the accountability report. Before we get into the finding, are there any questions on the audit results up to this point? No? Okay, go ahead, Tara.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Brianna. So I guess it's already been pointed out a couple times, but you know, we did some work in the CHHS department based on some staff or some concerns that were raised by staff in that department. So the city asked us to come in and do some specific audit work. So we definitely want to thank the city for bringing that to our attention, and also thank the city management and staff within that department for really working openly with us. It really was a collaborative effort to get through this, so we really appreciate that. So as we said, we are reporting a finding in this area because we've worked so closely with the city in drafting the finding, and because council has already seen the full draft of the finding. I'm just going to kind of go through and hit a summary of the most important items that are going to be included in the finding.
This is Councilmember Stratton. Can I ask a question before you get started?
Of course.
Let's see. I know that there were discussions with staff and while you were doing this audit. How many, or were you able to interview the individuals who have left that department at any point during this audit? I mean, were you able to talk to them to get additional information, or was it just internal that you talked to?
Yeah, we just focused on the internal staff, so people that were still here who would raise the concerns, and then, anyone else who would have been involved that's still at the city.
That's still at the city. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you, Councilmember Stratton. I can't see anyone, so please just speak up as long as we're doing this screen share.
Okay, so as you'll see on the screen, we have the title kind of in the middle there. So this is the title of the finding. So basically in the CHHS department, we did find that internal controls were bypassed regarding procurement of public works contracts, conflict of interest, subrecipient agreements, and some contractor payments. So like I said, I'll just kind of go through each of those items really quickly to give you a little bit of the background. So for council, we have provided you the packet, like Alicia said. This is starting in that exit packet beginning on page 5. And the full finding does include background on the work we completed, the issues identified, the effect of those conditions or those issues, the cause, the city's response, and then our recommendations and the applicable policies and state laws that we audited to. So for the first piece, for those public works contracts, we did find 2 contracts that would have required informal quotes under the city's policy. However, there was no documentation that that was done to show that those quotes were obtained for the 2 projects. So basically, the effect of this is that if city policy isn't followed for those public works contracts, you can't ensure that that lowest responsible bidder is chosen to perform the work. And then for the subrecipient agreements, there's a couple different areas we looked at. The first, we did find 3 agreements that didn't follow the department's established procedures to solicit a request for a proposal or any other competitive bidding process. And we also did determine that the department doesn't have written policies or procedures for awarding subrecipient contracts or awards. So that does, without having those written procedures in place, it's hard to ensure that a consistent and equitable process is used when selecting for the most qualified subrecipients. And then another thing we looked at for the subrecipient agreements is we did find 2 of the agreements where we also found the appearance of a conflict of interest, where the parties involved did not disclose their relationship with the subrecipients chosen by the department. Basically, that should have been disclosed to the department staff, which is required both by city policy and state law. So basically, any actual or potential conflict could potentially violate those state laws or city policies if they're not disclosed. And then the last 2 pieces here, so we reviewed 1 consulting agency agreement, and we did find some payments that were made to that agency for personal or non-business related expenses. Basically, these payments were made to them as an alternative form of compensation. But we ultimately determined that it didn't comply with the agreement between the city and that consulting agency. So basically, this could result in a gifting of public funds if those expenses are paid out and not in line with that agreement that you guys had with that consulting agency. And actually, that's the last piece for those 4 spots I'll hit. But I did want to point out that on page 7, we've included a cause of the condition. And we did work with the city. We held quite a few meetings and got a lot of feedback from city directors, staff within the department, and kind of wrote up that cause of condition, kind of making sure the city agreed with it. And we could all kind of say, here's why we think this happened. And like I said, that's found on page 7 of your packet, and it states that department staff felt pressure and influence from department directors, and those directors also felt pressure and influence from a council member to approve certain activity and transactions. And basically that bypassed the established controls, department practices, and procedures and policies. Another thing that's included in the finding that you'll see is the city's response to the finding. So we really want to thank the city again for providing such a great and well thought out response, really addressing each issue that we brought forth in our finding. It's a really detailed plan, and it shows how each of the issues identified will be addressed. So we thought it was a great response. So basically, to conclude on the finding before I see if you guys have any questions, you'll also see on page 8 of the packet that we have specific recommendations for each of the 4 areas, and we also include the criteria used for each of the issues. So overall, our recommendations focus on, following those established internal controls that are already there, following the practices and policies, to make sure the city's normal policies and procedures are followed, and you're in compliance with those. So basically those recommendations, like I said, are specific to the public works procurement, awarding of subrecipient contracts, conflict of interest, and then contractor reimbursements. So with that, can I answer any questions that anyone might have on the finding?
Any questions? Just go ahead and speak up.
I will. This is Councilmember Kinnear. Are you going to be giving us additional details on who we're talking about in terms of the subrecipients, contractors, the people, the division directors, the staff? It's all pretty nebulous right now, and we were told by our by Brian Coddington that you, as the auditors, wanted to give us that information. So is that forthcoming? And I'm hoping it is, because we need to be fully transparent on this.
Sure. Yes, and we can definitely provide that to you, probably in a separate meeting or separate communication. We do one thing that with the audit report already being published, if public records requests are put in, that information will be available to the public as well, which, we've worked really closely with the city to make sure they have that information as well. But yes, we can definitely get that information to you.
And this is Alicia, and we have worked with the city on this as well, about those that would be named. They're not named in the finding, of course, just positions are in there. But I don't know if Sally Stouffer or Brandy are on the phone or on this call, that they could tell us if they wanted us to disclose that information in this meeting, or if it's just that they needed the information outside that we've already provided to the city.
Well, it hasn't been provided to council. That's my concern.
Okay, we can contact Brian Coddington and also Brandy, because they would have that information.
Thank you.
If that will help.
Other questions?
Yeah,
Chair
this
Wilkerson?
is Council President. Similar, it'd be really helpful to see who was interviewed and who wasn't, and what the notes are. I mean, one of your findings is that a former director was pressured by a former council member, and I don't think you interviewed either one of them. So it's hard to know how the telephone game goes as far as what was said or not and things like that. So I totally take your recommendations for better financial controls and following our policies, which is the purpose of your work as I understand it. But a lot of people, I think, want to get to the bottom of, did something wrong happen or not? If we haven't really heard from the people, it's hard to know that. So I'm hoping, so that kind of information, the notes and who was interviewed, that's available somewhere, either because you'll give it to Brian Coddington or public records requests, just confirming that that's the situation on that.
Okay. Yep, we can work with the city on that.
Okay. Then I had one substantive question that a reporter raised today when we had a news conference. So one of the allegations, if I understand it, was that donors to a foundation, a charitable foundation, which in turn donated to a nonprofit that contracted with the city, also donated to a former council member campaign. And so I'm trying to tease out from your conclusions as to whether, if there's mutual donors, if that was the problem, or if there's some allegation that there was kind of working together on something, that because that would be difficult for those of us running for office to keep track of who our donors have also donated to. So I'm just wondering if you can comment on that.
Sure. So I don't believe it was mutual donors that we saw. It was more our audit document, or our audit, what we could actually trace for actual audit evidence was that charitable donation actually sat on the board of this subrecipient. So it wasn't really focused on the donation piece as much.
Okay. So it was more that a donor sat on the board of a contracting organization?
Yes, and they were part of a risk assessment that was done in determining if that subrecipient was going to get the contract. And that's the one we determined could be a potential conflict.
Councilmember Mumm.
Thank you. Council President, were you done with your questions? I don't want to cut you off.
Yes.
All right, great. Well, first of all, I kind of want to take this opportunity to thank the staff and the employees who came forward. It is always hard to do that, but we appreciate them to do that, because how else would we know? So I know that that's difficult for them, but they're very brave to do it, and this is why we need these audits, so we can find out what's happening. So I just wanted to publicly thank them. But my question is in regard to the consulting contract, and was there in your findings, do you offer as part of your service a remedy for that? Because my concern is if direct payments were made to a mortgage and a car payment, how is that unwound? Because it should have been income to them on a federal tax basis as a consulting firm. You see my point?
Yes, and I think we did kind of discuss this with Sally Stouffer as well a little bit. But basically, I don't know, and Alicia can maybe add a little bit more. Since we're just the reporting agency giving you guys our results, I don't know that we can really provide much more than, we saw these payments that looked like they could be considered a gifting of public funds. And then from there, it would be up to you guys to kind of decide how to handle that going forward.
I would like to remedy that. That's really not great accounting. So I'm sorry, I maybe cut somebody off who's going to answer that.
Oh, I was just going to agree with Tara. Yes, we've found the issue, and then we are the reporting agency. We bring it to the city's attention, and it's really up to city management and elected officials to decide how to proceed forward. If there was any steps missed with any payroll items or taxes, that's really up to the city to perform that additional review. So.
I don't know. I think Tanya's still on. Maybe there's a way to make this right and correct.
Councilmember Kinnear?
With all of our questions, and I know that, again, I thank the auditors too. We never would have known. You're the reporting agency. You're the fact finders. But with all of our questions, they bring up more questions. And I would ask Council President to please arrange a time where we can speak with administration and get some of these other questions answered, because honestly, I'm more confused now than I was before we started. I get that we've had this briefing and there's lots of information, but it really it's opened up another can of worms for me. So I really would like more from our administration to explain not only what's been going on, but how do we, as Councilmember Mumm says, how do we go forward and fix this?
Thank you. Are there any more questions? Because Tanya, Council President?
I have a follow-up. Thank you. Somewhat agree with, well, I totally agree with Councilmember Kinnear, as always, but so I want to concur on that. But in addition to that, I'm going to ask again, and whether you're prepared to tell us today or not, that's fine. You could tell us later. But again, we're in the middle of city council election season for this year. And so for people who are wanting to make sure that they don't stub their toes on something, it's certainly not in our election code that members of a nonprofit board can't donate to city elections. So I'm just wondering, is mere membership on a nonprofit board for a nonprofit that does end up contracting with the city, is that an potential appearance of impropriety in your mind? Or is it membership on the board plus other kinds of activities and communications? I'm just trying to get a sense of that for people who are in the business of accepting donations these days.
And I want to be clear with this finding. We were not saying that this was an issue. We were just saying it came to our attention. We looked into it. The issue really came about that this information wasn't disclosed as required by the city's policy to be evaluated if there was a conflict. Because it's really up to the city to decide once the information is disclosed in accordance with city code, then it's supposed to be processed and evaluated, and a dispensation is supposed to happen. Somebody needs to make a decision in city management about whether or not a conflict of interest exists, and if that certain person should be sitting on a board or participating in a contract award process. So that's really where the focus was, is that notification did not occur. And so even if there's that appearance, and your code is pretty clear that if there's a potential or an appearance or an actual conflict of interest occurring, that the person involved is supposed to, the person that it could apply to is supposed to notify their supervisor or their appointed designee. That designee is then supposed to evaluate and provide a comment on whether or not a conflict of interest has actually occurred.
Right. And were you able to tell whether we ask RFP members to disclose potential conflicts? Do we have them sign a form or not in the department?
That we're not aware of that. Cannot speak to that.
Okay, thanks.
And what if this is, Karen, just a quick question. It would seem to me that would also go through the legal department. I'm like Councilmember Kinnear, I'm getting more and more confused. It would seem to me that there would be a process through the city legal too, that I'm not aware of. So that might be something as we talk future about process that we make sure we understand. And if there is a legal piece that we know that's part of the process, because that's where I'm going now, is if legal approved it. Anyway.
So, as you've all said, there's more to learn and understand from this findings. We thank the State Auditor's Office. We will be hearing more about the process and with the administration. Thank you all for the report. Tanya Wallace will be coming up next. There may be some bleed over from this conversation into her report, so I want to bring on Tanya around our priority-based budgeting, and we really want to pay attention to our time as we have a full day today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Well, hello and afternoon, council members. Yes, this is going to continue our priority-based budgeting in preparation for 2022. And there is no time other than now to continue this conversation. So I'm going to share with you a draft of the calendar. A lot of this is based on continuing to build from what we did last year, but also a lot from the response to the survey that we did. So we're going to keep building on the great foundation that we started, which was a very collaborative, coordinated process. but we're going to expand it and grow it based on that survey. So I'm going to go through this. I welcome your feedback. And believe it or not, it's actually already started. In fact, last week we kicked off with capital improvement planning. So that is already underway. So today you can see we're going to review this draft calendar and get your feedback. But we actually will start at a study session where we're going to share with you a little bit about 2020, a look back of the year in review. These are unaudited financial results, so we still have to go through that process. We're also going to be providing for you a COVID revenue loss report. It was definitely quite the year for the city overall. We're going to share with you also the watch list item that we've been keeping track of and some of our unfunded capital lists, so that you're also aware of what we've been tracking and what we're watching. But Department Strategic Planning, there are really two tracks going on, and I know Council President and some of you have been very involved in that, and those efforts are still going to continue. But to really elevate this process so that we're focused on priorities and outcomes and delivering what our citizens expect, we do need to get going and start talking about those priorities really tightly around 2022. So that work is in earnest underway in April in the department level. Also, just as a reminder, Questica, which is our new financial planning and reporting tool, is officially kicked off. So while we're going to be going through this process, please keep in the back of your minds that we're also implementing a whole new tool for us that will live with us for many years into the future. So April is all about preparing and laying down the foundation. May, we're going to start really building that foundation. I do have May 20th, and in purple, these are really sessions that are together. This is the administration and the city council together reviewing this information. An economic summit, an economic summit and long-term financial projections. This is still a to be determined date, but May 20th is our target time frame for that. Also in May is when the departments will have a retreat with the mayor to look at some of these strategic initiatives and our action plans and get her feedback. There will also be a capital review committee that's going to meet and start looking at these capital projects. That is something new at the city that we've introduced specifically for this frame. And that's in the hopes that these capital projects are a little more vetted on the administration side. And by vetted, it's that there's a lot more awareness in the other departments that could be impacted. For example, a particular project may impact technology, but our IT department doesn't always have eyes into those projects. This capital committee will help provide some of that work. June is when we start prioritizing. And there we will ask for a lot of city council participation and leadership. And we will be planning on, again, it's a to be determined date, of having a retreat that looks at the goals for 2022. And we will present at that time a trial budget. So this is when we're going to start putting priorities and initiatives together with financial context of what we're really going to be facing in 2022 in terms of financial resources. And then behind the scenes is when departments will start working on their line item budgets. But this is only after now they have some context from both the mayor and the city council about what the priorities are going forward into 2022. And you'll see the CIP now is the administration and mayoral review. July, that will be an entire month of departments preparing their budgets. based on those priorities from the workshop, the retreat that we've had in June. So everybody will have a good understanding what direction we're going and how we're to focus those resources. In August, that will be an executive review. All the departments will submit their budgets in so that the administration can start reviewing and really making sure that those resources are aligned with the priorities that we set out in June. And then coming through September is when the collaboration will begin. September 27th is when the mayor will present her proposed operating budget. Excuse me. In October, we will go through the 4 different committees, very much like what we did last time. We anticipate that these will be a little more involved, and departments will help present and really focus on what those priorities are in each of those committee groupings, and review the finances as well. In November, at least starting on November 8th and November 15th, is what we're kind of coining virtual community connections. So these are the start of the public hearing process to bring the public into it. After the public has heard these presentations, as well as the City Council, on proposed revenue and levies, and then the budget. And then, of course, December 6th is the day for the final public hearing, and we move into adoption after that. So with that, Council, I'm excited to hear any feedback you have. We have tried to keep some of the best elements of last year. We've pushed the calendar up a little bit, and we're really dedicating April, May, and June for priority discussions. So that will kind of raise the bar a little bit of what are our key initiatives, with those initiatives, what are the action steps? We're really going to be asking departments to plan out the action steps that are going to be needed, because when they plan out those action steps, there's a greater understanding of the resources that are going to require to deliver expectations. So I'm going to be quiet for a second and listen to all of you. Thank you.
Any questions for Tanya? Councilmember Kinnear.
Thank you. So last year's budget session went pretty darn smoothly from my point of view, based on years past. And you're right, Tanya, it was collaborative. I'm a little concerned about some of those dates. I think that the council should be working simultaneously with the mayor on what our priorities are, so that we can both come out with what you all need to go forward. I'm a little bit concerned about that end date of December 31st as the final adoption. I know last year we did it earlier, and it tends to work out better for council. December 31st is kind of an odd time to approve a final budget. So if we can move that to the middle of December, I think everybody will be a lot happier. I know Councilmember Mumm will be a lot happier. So those are my 2 comments. But you're right. It was relatively painless last year. I'm hoping we'll get to experience that again this year.
Great. Thank you. Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, excuse me. Just based on the timeline that you outlined, it looks like all of the meetings, at least regarding council, are full council discussions. Is that correct? Or are there any that are going to be private and broken up into subgroups?
Excellent question. In the draft calendar you have in front of you, it is full council.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Council President?
Yep, thank you so much, Tanya. I had a couple of things. One, last year I thought our process went very well, considering we were all getting to know each other across the aisle. But the one issue that we had the biggest problem with last time was capital budget, and that was because we didn't really get much council involvement until after the Planning Commission had gotten involved. And of course, for capital budget, whatever you come up with has to go through the Planning Commission. So I just, I might have missed it, but it seems like a lot of the work on that should take place with council before you go to the Planning Commission, so that we really are on the same page and don't run into what we did last year, which we ran into twice, both in June and in October, November, of council passing something and then Planning Commission not having time to go through it. So that's one area. Be great to do a little sooner. The other thing, one of the most expensive things in our budget is public safety with fire and police. And I really think we need a dedicated conversation on that, starting right away on how we're going to use the public safety levy and other types of things. So I think that's its own bucket, so to speak, I think. And I had one more thing like that, but I know. Yeah, in our budget for this year, we approved an overtime study, and I haven't seen that go out to request for production yet. And last I recall from our public safety meeting, I think both police and fire have spent almost their entire annual overtime budget in the first quarter. So that's a huge driver, and I'm just wondering if you can give us an update on the RFP process for that.
Excuse me. Yes, Council President, you are exactly correct. You did approve funding for consulting work to take a look at fire and police overtime in great detail. We should be getting underway with that RFP. There are a couple different paths that we could take. I do believe an RFP path is the best path to take, and we were simply waiting until we had the Questica budget stuff put to bed at the end of March before we started focusing on the next project. So that will be getting underway within the next 60 days.
So Tanya, thank you. So we will not have that data when we're doing the budget for 2022. I'm trying to look at what the turnaround time on that would look like.
That is a great question. I don't imagine that this would be a very long study. It's a matter of how much information, how much data they need and how fast we can turn it around. I think the most involved, and this is just my opinion, will be a review of the contracts themselves will be the lengthiest part of this contract. I only suspect that it would take maybe 30 to 90 days to complete a study. So I think we could have that by the end of August.
No other questions for Tanya? Great. At this time, I'm going to take it to Council Member Mumm, who wants to bring something back before us.
Yeah, hi. Tanya, while we still have you here, and Garrett Jones had to jump off, I just wanted to loop back on consent item A. I didn't realize that was the closed accounts capital fund issue. And I think, Tanya, you had a creative way for us to fund the much needed playgrounds in Logan and West Central, but I just wanted to hear back from you what the final decision was from the mayor's side on that.
Thank you, Councilmember Mumm. We had originally proposed a marker until the ARP program was a little more in place. But that is not something that the city is probably quite ready to embrace at this time. So the administration does not have a resolution yet to present to City Council, other than just bumping this ahead of the watch list items that will be coming forward on Thursday. So quite possibly, you may want to make a decision on this after you see the other watch list items. It is totally Council's prerogative to move that around. The benefit of Thursday's presentation is that you are going to hear how much we have in unappropriated general fund reserves. So you do have some tools available to you. I did see some of the faces when I threw out the word marker. A budgetary marker is really just pre-approval to spend dollars pending the final funding solution when you do have options to consider. That was just an alternative to try to meet the deadlines of ordering the playground equipment in a timely fashion and to hit the construction mark, but we don't have all of the ARP framework set up to make an allocation from ARP. But you do have other options, Council, and I think you're going to see that after Thursday's discussion. So just a little bit longer, and we will have some solutions for you.
Okay. Just as an aside, it's possible that the study session that was planned for Thursday may not happen on Thursday due to some absences. So the other piece of this is that we need to order this playground equipment if we're going to get it in place for the children to use this summer. And I don't want to delay that. So however we can more quickly get to that, if the budget marker is something that needs to happen in order to do it, it's clear we have funds in several pots. The initial resolution was to use the money that was coming from the capital fund accounts because that was unbudgeted this year, and we certainly could do it that way. And then if, in order to get the order in for this playground equipment on the state contract, but if you have a as quick or quicker method to do it, I'd like to hear about it fairly soon so we can put that order in.
We will definitely work to bring you all a solution, very, very timely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Okay, we're going to go to our COVID monthly update, and Amber is not with us today, but Marlene Feist will be giving that report.
Okay, so to make John DeLay happy, I moved my camera so I'm not a big shadow. And I'm going to share just one slide with you. We continue to work with our employees to manage as we move through the pandemic. Our next big initiative will be to reopen the public counters in this building, City Hall, and floors 1 and 3. And also at Fire Station 1. Those services provided at those counters include the 311 services, utility billing, taxes and licensing, developer services, permitting type requests, and more. We have a tentative reopening date of Monday, May 3rd. That is dependent on staying in phase 3. I'm sure you're all watching the numbers in our community, and so we are uncertain what that may look like at the next evaluation period, which does happen on that Monday. What we're looking at, we've asked the departments in charge of these services to provide us with what they would be able to do in terms of reopening those public counters. We're initially looking at a soft reopening with some limited hours at first. Some services may require appointments, and we're going to adhere to those best practices that have gotten us through this time, masking, physical distancing. You'll notice that in those areas, we already actually put up things like plexiglass dividers. We have distancing dots available. We would clean between each customer at those kinds of counters. So we're reviewing the plans, and we will have more details over time. But we just wanted to alert you to this. We really feel like it's consistent with what we've seen happen now at the library with their reopening a week or so ago. And Municipal Court has had some limited reopening of its public counter as well already. So we're just trying to be consistent, and the mayor would like to see us meet people's expectations that we are starting to reopen, especially as those vaccines get rolled out to more and more of our community members and our employees. So that is probably our most important update on the COVID front for the city. We, of course, are continuing to track employees who may have been exposed or who actually get COVID. We're continuing to manage how our employees out in the field are working together during this time, as they are essential employees and still have been coming to work for more than a year, while many of us have been working from home. So do you have any questions on that? I was going to stop sharing.
Councilmember Cathcart?
Actually, I think Councilmember Mumm was first. I'll defer to her.
Thanks so much. It's like we're playing Hollywood Squares. So Marlene, since I that's great that so many of our folks have been vaccinated and would be able to safely return to work and start to provide services to the public. Have we discussed using 311 staff or having some sort of an on-site kiosk just to help direct folks to COVID vaccines and to resources that they may need, even direct them to COVID testing? It seems like this would be a great service, not just for our citizens, but for visitors as well.
You know, and we have continued to share how to access that information. The Department of Health has a lot of really good resources on how to find vaccines in our community and in communities across the state. We direct people routinely to that information through our website. 311 has that information. I don't know that they're a primary source of giving out that information, but they do have access to that information if someone were to call and ask for help in seeking that vaccination information. So we continue to amplify the information coming to us from the Regional Health District and the Department of Health so that we can reach as many people as we possibly can through our normal communication channels.
I'm just thinking as part of our service to people, you know, walk-in people that maybe just really needed some help with something. Not everyone has access to the internet, as you know, or, you know, cell phones or being able to set up an appointment. So if there's some way, I don't know if our front counter staff needs a little bit of training on that so they understand what resources, maybe they already have been trained, I don't know, but how to connect them with the proper healthcare services or even for testing. That might be something that we could offer. It would be wonderful.
Right. So I'll check with Carly and see how much their team has already been doing that and what additional services they might be able to assist with.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, and Marlene, you may not know, and so I can reach out to somebody else, but since we do have a date set for this kind of in-person component tentatively, do we also have a draft kind of midterm, long-term plan in terms of other city employees and what their status might be in terms of working from home or at City Hall and what that's going to sort of look like? Has that been put together?
You know, so Councilmember Cathcart, we did have plans that they've morphed a couple of different times, so we need to revisit that and determine, once we figure out how many people need to be in the building, what kind of spacing they need to open these public counters, we can move to the next groups of folks to see how many we could bring in and still maintain the 6 feet of distancing with some barriers. So that sort of is our next phase. So the reopening team was going to look at the plans for 311 and utility billing and taxes and licensing and how much space they need to operate to be able to offer those public services, and then see what kind of availability we have to bring in more of the teams into the building. And, you know, and to look at, you know, things that might be contingencies. So we know that summer camps and summer daycare options are a little more limited than they normally are in the summertime. So do we need to accommodate some of our employees as they transition into the new school year over the summer? So those are the kinds of questions we're looking at right now. And I did, to my department heads last week, just said, this is out there. I need you to start looking again and see how you want to bring your teams back into in-person work environment.
I think there's an opportunity to look at modifying our footprint at City Hall or perhaps a future City Hall, depending on how, you know, the changes in employment situations kind of work themselves out through COVID. So that's why I asked the question. I think if that's something that could be looked at in the future, it'd be good to start getting on that now.
Yeah, and HR is looking at that, and they've been looking at, you know, what does our telecommuting policy look like today? It needs to be updated, that kind of thing. And you know, we've seen other jurisdictions and other companies go with, things like hotel spaces where people share workspaces so they can come in for meetings, but they don't stay there, a 40-hour work week like they have in the past. So those are all options, and Tanya is part of those discussions as well with her facilities team on what might make sense going forward in terms of, how do we stagger people back? Do we allow some to continue to just work from home? And how does that work with our needs to serve citizens and be effective service providers?
Great. Councilmember Munn?
Yeah, I want to go back to this wonderful hope that we'll soon be able to serve the public and have more interaction with them. And I'm just thinking it might really be a good thing to consider what the best practice would be for our staff who have been vaccinated and feel comfortable sharing that information, not a requirement, but if they wanted to share that they had been vaccinated, having a pin or something that says, I've been vaccinated, because I think as we go out in the community, that's really one of the first things people tell you is, oh, I've had my shots, or I'm vaccinated. And it does sort of reduce the level of anxiety a little bit. So maybe you've discussed this. I don't know.
We have not discussed that particular approach, but I certainly will bring that up with HR. They've been really handling how we've been working with our employees to encourage them to go ahead and seek those vaccines.
Great. Thank you, Marlene. We look forward to what comes next. Okay. Paul and Josie, are you out there for our monthly financial reports?
I'm always here, council member. So
We're happy.
going to try to share some screens here.
All right.
Okay, so you should see the monthly financial reports that Amy sent out earlier this week. So this first one, again, is on the general fund update, and it shows you what the adopted budget level was of $208 million and what the changes year to date have been. There's about $4.5 million in additional general fund expenditures approved, and the second page shows you where those occurred. About $4 million of that was our encumbrance carryover, and in the month of March there were 3 SBOs that were adopted by committee by the council. One for the East Sprague project. One council had $10,000 for a grant, and then the final one was the transfer of the FTE from the Public Works Division into the general fund under engineering. Any questions on this general fund report? I'll move on to the intra-fund budget transfer report. And again, these are transfers inside a department, but between different type codes or uses. And the only highlight on this one I wanted to make, you can see the gray ones deal with positions. The highlight on this one I wanted to point out is under ICM. As much as we love Gavin, we're not expecting $20,000 for his temp seasonal work on paths and trails. That's going to be ICM's full budget transfer for temp seasonal. Gavin just happens to hit that budget. So just wanted to point that out and quell any fears on that one. Any questions on this monthly report?
Keep moving.
Okay. I'll move over to our financial reports for March 2021 for this April committee meeting. So general fund revenues, approximately 2% above budget through March, about $20 million collected against almost 19.7 in budget. Most of this is actually due to the timing of charges for our internal service fees and some of the revenue we received earlier than anticipated. To note, the big three, our sales, property, and utility taxes, are actually 2% below budget through March. So it's almost artificially above budget at this point. I think it should normalize by next month. On the expenditure side, we're about 4% below budget through the first 3 months of the year. $46 million in expenses against $48 million in budget. And I'm going to send this report out as soon as this meeting's over, so you'll have all of this and all the charts that go with it. Salaries and benefits are about $2.5 million under budget, and that's really what's going to be the main driver on the general fund expenditures. This last bullet, we report every month, uniform overtime through March, police and fire had spent 21% and 51% of the respective annual overtime budgets. So this is just a graph of all revenue sources for the general fund. It's about $400,000 above where we expected it to be, and it's up 6.5% as compared to fiscal 20. For reference, this is a chart we maintain on our SharePoint site, just an Excel file that I have. So I just did a quick snapshot to paste it in here. And again, this will be sent out so you can see all the numbers in here. But on the left-hand side, this column, these are all the general fund revenue types. And then it goes into a little bit more detail for some of them. You can see local retail sales tax. I think the interesting things are going to be those two right-hand columns. First, the amount of red that you see, that means we are below where we expected it to be through March of this year. And then the column all the way to the right, that's going to be your actuals against the prior year. So again, red is not good on this chart. As far as taxable sales, for January 2021, because we do have that 2-month lag between activity and when we receive the revenue, taxable sales for January 2021 were up 1% compared to January 2020. Through January, retail trade, you can see off to the right, is up 14%, construction down about 2%, and accommodation and food services continues to struggle. And this is compared to the prior year, about 30% down. Overall, total taxable sales for January were approximately $466 million, an increase of 4.4 million over 2020. So we updated the sales tax monthly change table. We're working on a title for it. There's got to be something better to describe it. So this one shows changes from month to month, which when we graphed it, all it really shows us is that we all have the same seasonal changes. And these are a list of the cities. You can see Spokane, Seattle, Tacoma, Spokane Valley. We all sort of follow the same path. So we went back even farther and pulled more data. And this updated table, and again, we'll send this out, this is now comparing year-to-year changes. So this will be on the left-hand side, March 2020 compared to March 2019, April 2020, and so on and so forth. And then when we graph that, I think this gives you a better picture of how cities are recovering or dealing with the pandemic. And you can see Seattle at the bottom of the graph. Their year-to-year, they are still not back up to where they were the year prior, pre-COVID shutdowns. And we all had that similar dip between the May and June time period. And you can see the city of Spokane sort of in the middle. We're kind of back to where we were this time last year. I think we were up about 1% overall. So I think this might give a better picture about how the different cities are being impacted and rebounding or not rebounding as well. And then just one more slide on the general fund expenditures. Again, through March, we're about $2 million or 4.2% below budget. And you can see against the different categories, salary benefits about 12% below where we anticipated it to be. Supplies about 45% and services up 13%. And this will sort of, supplies and services will balance each other out throughout the year. But as long as the salary and benefits stay below where we anticipate, then we should be in a favorable position. And I believe that's all I have. Happy to take any questions.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, hey, Paul. That slide you showed a few slides back showing looks like the dip in revenues for various funds. It went by really fast, but it looked like the highest was for business utilities. And I'm wondering, so is that perhaps just a lot of businesses who are not paying their commercial utilities? Is that what the dip in that is?
So I had business utilities on the table. Is that the one, council member?
Yeah, it was a table slide.
Yeah, so it's about $400,000 below where we expected it to be at this point in the year, and that could be a number of factors. Yeah, either customers not paying their bills, us projecting a little bit too high, different usage rates coming into play as well. So there's probably a number of factors that
perhaps business closures as well.
Yeah.
And is that the highest? It went by really fast. Is that the highest that we're seeing?
I'd have to do the percentages, but that's the highest dollar amount. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Paul? As always, thank you. Your charts are colorful. We appreciate that. All right, Jake, you can take us home, and I'll let you go.
All right, thank you, Council Member Wilkerson. I'll try to be brief. I'm going to share my screen with you. So in the very bottom of the agenda, you will find the full reports, but here we have the summary version. Starting off, I always like to state the objectives of the portfolio. Safety and liquidity are first, with about equal importance on both of those. After that will come earning a commensurate return through budgetary and economic cycles. So the same numbers as last quarter as far as contingency reserve and revenue stabilization go. The contingency reserve, $21.1 million and 7.4 million respectively. So that really only moved a little bit by interest earnings since last quarter. Page 2 of your report has quite a bit going on with it. One, it shows the high-level summary of cash and investments and fixed income and SIP loans. And you can see that overall it moved up by about 5.4 million. So that is fairly normal for the first quarter. We did have some investment transactions. About $5 million matured in January. We had a $4 million bond call. And then we turned around and purchased about $35 million in the short term, or to the short to mid-term of the portfolio. So that is just to diversify that cash balance. You can see that cash had moved down by about 20 million, fixed income went up, and then SIP loans. We issued another SIP loan for the East Sprague District. Also on page 2, you can see our unrealized gain amount that has reduced from the previous quarter. Last quarter, that was sitting at about 11.3 million, I believe. In recent months, the yield curve has steepened significantly on the longer end. That inverse relationship between interest rates and the market value, interest rates have gone up, and therefore the market value on this portion of our portfolio has reduced. So we're sitting at about 7.5 million. Yield to maturity, as of 3/31, it's sitting at 1.20. That is just a slight reduction from last quarter. It is in line with a lot of our peers in other municipalities. In California, we're actually outperforming by about 10 basis points. So we're just right in line there, even though we have a slightly longer weighted average maturity. These next 2 charts are just a more granular level of detail shown in different ways, and they are in the report. So there's not a lot to say on them, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Jake?
Okay, I will move on.
Thank you.
No problem. Next report would be on the SIP loans. And the SIP loans as of last quarter, are sitting at 43.7 million. You can see that we had issued the ones for the East Sprague reconstruction project. Moving down, we have a couple planned, which are in the works as we speak. The parking meters, 1.2 million, I think that recently passed, and then also the golf system that Michelle Hughes spoke about earlier today. Looking at capacity, portfolio balance at 404 million. Taking out bond proceeds, since those are due to be spent down fairly quickly, leaves you about 350 million total portfolio balance. 15% of that, about 52 million. Taking out what is issued, we have about $9 million in capacity, or 2.57%. And not as a way to make projections, but kind of pulling in the aggregate of all of our spend downs, taking out debt service for each year. I wanted to present this in another chart in a different way, showing the estimated balance of those SIP loans going forward at the end of this year, as well as 2022 for the next 5 years. So hopefully this will help in showing capacity for years going forward. Any questions?
Not seeing any, Jake.
All right, well, thank you very much. That's all I have for you.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, that concludes our Finance Committee meeting for today. Our next meeting will be May 17th at 1:15. Have a great afternoon.